Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's well and you're still coping with semi-lockdown and remote working and all that goes with it. It's our third live webinar in our series of FinTech risk resilience and COVID-19. As you may or may not know, we at Model Office put together a paper back in the start of lockdown a couple of months ago now, called, as you can see on your screen, hopefully, Remote Working and FinTech, which effectively is a free handbook for financial advisors and planners to take a look at key areas surrounding remote working, client engagement, client and practice management, business and risk management technology. So we asked a lot of the good and the great of the FinTech world to come together and provide some pro bono overviews of their tech and how it can help you as advisors and planners in the market and ensure that you are resilient and sustainable as a practice, and you're going to meet the challenges that we're now facing on an ongoing basis regarding this pandemic. And the paper has been personally, Model Office's most successful paper. We've had over 300 downloads on the paper, so obviously it's resonated. And what we then decided to do was a series of live webinars and invite the contributors in. So today we've got the wonderful Langcat crew, Terry Huddart in particular, who will be demoing their platform analyzer piece of kit, and then we've got a great presentation from Wealth Wizards, Nick Hall, on what they can offer us at this moment in time regarding client engagement. And finally, but not least, we've got the enigmatic Sim Sanger from Moneyinfo, and Moneyinfo client portal will be demoed for you as well. Before we go through all that, what I need to do is a bit of a housekeeping for you. We've got a full house today, which is great, and we'll have more people joining as they get to grips with the technology. But the key issue with this is that if you have a look at the top of your screen, you're going to have the mic icon. Click on that. Make sure your audio is connected. If it's not connected, you won't be able to hear me at the moment. So hopefully anybody who's struggling on audio can see the telephone number there and the conference ID, and they'll get straight in. You can also chat with us as we present. So I'm going to send everybody a message, which will be simply hello. And you can then send in your questions if you want to do that, and ask as the presenters present today, and we will answer those in our best capacity as we go through. So please do feel free to use the chat functionality. So the other thing to mention, and final thing to mention, is we are recording today's session, and most importantly, I'm putting myself on a timer to make sure I don't overrun, and to ensure that our guest speakers have as much time as possible to present their wonderful technology as we go forward in the presentation. So first and foremost, what I would really like to cover is where we are with the compliance angle. If those of you who don't know Model Office, we are a RegTech platform, and what we allow firms to do is self-benchmark, self-audit, self-assess where they believe they are against all the rules and regulations. And then our tech will come in, and algorithms will come in and say, this is where you really are. Here's all your heat map dashboards. And most importantly, here's all the resources, tasks, and steers and strategies about what to do next. And I'm going to give a very brief overview of that and a short live demo on how we can help you ensure that you've got a financially resilient model at the moment. And a compliance resilient model at the moment. But the key issue with the FCA is that, quite interesting, they've been very quiet at the moment through the COVID situation. They realise that this is a massive challenge to you all in the marketplace. I know we're in unprecedented times, and this management speak phrase, I hate management speak, but the new normal that we're now in is certainly something that is going to be around for some time. So from that perspective, we just need to understand where the regulator are in their thinking. And first and foremost, they're very keen for firms to really ensure that their capital and liquidity buffers are set. So in other words, that you are commercially viable, so that you can support yourselves and most importantly your clients, which is the first port of call from the regulatory point of view. You've got plans that you're planning strategically ahead. You've got your business continuity documentation in place, and then ensuring that really that you've got sound financial management within the business. Now, as I'll show you in a minute, what we've done at Model Office, which is in the paper, we have made our financial stress test diagnostic completely free for you all, so that you can go on and stress test where you are on your cash flows as a business. And I'll show you how that works in a minute. I'll show you the link that you can go in and use that instantaneously. And also what we've got, we've asked the presenters today to offer is, one or two key planning points that you can take away for your business, so that you can actually, apply it, apply them and hopefully benefit accordingly. So the other issue that I think one of the key issues that have come up from this is that in relation to wet signatures and customer ID. And the good news there is the regulator has reconfirmed their rules. Now, did you know that the FCA never actually required a wet signature in agreements? What their rules actually say is you need to apply a durable medium. You need to apply the client best interest rule, as in COBS 2.1.1R. You also need to ensure there's fair, clear and not misleading rule in play, which is the COBS 4.2.1R, when an electronic system is used. So you can use e-signatures. There is technology out there that you can use that. In our paper that we produce, tech firms such as DocuSign, eSign, Signable, Adobe are all in there, and you can click on their logos and you'll go straight to their website. We have, we're agnostic on other technologies, so we have no axe to grind. At the end of the day, we just made this all available so you in one place, so you can have a look at all this wonderful technology that you can apply and hopefully enable you to remain sufficiently aligned to your client needs as we go through the crisis. There is flexibility, which is great news regarding the MiFID II 10% depreciation notification rule, the 10% drop rule as it's called. Our view is the FCA should actually drop the 10% drop rule, but at the end of the day, it's a bit of a crazy scenario that we've got there. But they have relaxed the rules around that, so you only need to report on the once. And also, it's important that you're aligned and who reports on that, whether it's your outsourced suppliers and so forth. Business continuity, exit and wind down planning speaks for itself. Another issue really is SMCR responsibilities. We have SMF, with the new SMCR senior management functions, you've got the SMF 24 operational resilience that comes into focus. You've got the SMF 1 CE, and most relevant staff member needs to take responsibilities, for example, for key workers, and you've got the SMF 2 role, which is all about financial resilience. Even though if you're, for example, a core firm or a limited scope firm and they don't apply to you, we would recommend that you actually look at it and look at what those roles and responsibilities are, because at the end of the day, that's only going to benefit you through this, time of deep challenge as we go through. FCA on risk management is important, so really taking a look at what they consider as risk management, that's really coming into focus at the moment. Our technology does all that, it's governance, risk and compliance effectively, but at the end of the day, what you need to do is make sure 4 key areas are covered, which is identifying the main risks in your business as they arise. You're going to need diagnostics to do that, whether you like it or not, whether you like technology or not. Measure and improve the importance of the risk, mitigate the risks, and monitor the progress of risk. And also, risk is an opportunity. As we've seen with the government measures that they are now coming out with regarding the furloughing and the grants that they're offering small businesses and the loans for business continuity. Yes, that's a risk. Might take on more debt, but at the end of the day, it's also an opportunity to build out our businesses as we go forward. So risk management is key now. It's crucial. You've got the finger on the pulse technology can certainly help with that. And what we also talk a lot about at Model Office is that the game has changed, not just because of the COVID pandemic, but also really what we're living in post really the financial crisis of 2008 and 9 over the last 10 years is what we call a new relationship economy. Everything needs to be viewed holistically. We can't really employ checklist tick box activities anymore in our business. We need to ensure, that starting with ourselves, our firms and our staff, we're empowering professional practice, which then has a knock-on effect on client and consumer trust, and a knock-on effect on regulatory directives, because if we showcase and we're doing all the good stuff right, then that's going to put a downward pressure on regulatory directives. But obviously, the game has changed. We were moaning about 6 months ago or so regarding the Woodford issues, for example, that was the game changer. But now people, unfortunately, are getting sick and sadly worse. And we need to ensure that we've got, our staff cared for, our clients cared for, and obviously our client portfolios effectively risk managed through this, through the turbulent times that we're now facing. So, but we still have to comply and compete, which is a key area that we need to go through. And also resilience testing. There's lots of information in the rule book, and it's something that we stress test at Model Office. But the key area with this is that we want to ensure that you are aware of how you're doing that, what the key areas and elements that apply to this. So that will be looking at your board composite, your decision-making processes, avoiding groupthink, looking at your business continuity recovery plans, as we talked about, God forbid, wind down planning, but also looking at your centralized investment proposition, research and due diligence, revisiting that, which I'm sure you do, client suitability, how that's being gained now in this remote world through, the durable mediums like this, webinars, and, whether you're using Teams, whether you're using Zoom and, Skype and so forth. Risk registers, important to keep, looking at outsourced governance and introducer agreements, complaints registers, conflict of interest policies, data security is very big on the FCA radar, remuneration and execution policies. All those need to be revisited. You need to make sure that you're on the money with it, and that that you are aligned effectively and efficiently there. And finally, but not least, technology, which is what we're talking about today. Technology done well is an enabler platform to enable us all to do business better and more effectively and efficiently. But it's not magic, as I hasten to add. And it takes time and a lot of money to build. But at the end of the day, as we've showcased in our report, what you've got there is a lot of providers and contributors that you can actually access instantaneously, turnkey technology, if you like, that will help you enormously build out, more resilient services to meet your client needs, to meet your staff and business needs, and also your regulator needs as you go forward. So this is the URL that you can actually input if you haven't actually downloaded the paper, and it's a free paper. We're not charging for it, so please go ahead and fill your boots and download that. Okay, so now I've just gone through that. I'm very briefly going to take you through a little bit on Model Office for you before I pass over to the Langcat on their systems. And this just very briefly shows you, if you're logging into our technology, this is the screen that you'll see, and this is the free version for our financial stress test. What does our financial stress test do? Well, here's our dashboard, which I won't go through in essence today, but really the financial ratios are all about understanding what type of business that you are. So here what we're doing is we're asking you to input all this information in manually, which is, you can use last year's accounts, or you can actually use forecasting going forward, looking at your annual turnover, your revenues, your trail commissions, EBITDA, salaries, how they're paid, how many advisors you have, investment advisors through to employed, self-employed advisors, appointed reps, power planners, active clients, full-time staff, and assets under management. And there, what we're interested in really is understanding what type of firm you have got from a financial resilient point of view. So from there, really, what we'll then get is here's one we prepared earlier, which showcases if once you've plugged that information in, this will give you a high-level heat map version of looking at where you are with some commentary and guidance about what you need to do to improve. We've made this completely free, so you can stress test, your business from a resilience and financial resilience point of view, which is what the FCA want and need you to do. And as you can see here, we've got the heat map dashboard to give you an overall pointer and signposting the key areas. We've even got how your business could be valued across, for example, recurring revenues, EBITDA, value of percentage assets, and the average of those 3 metrics. So if you want that, let us know, and we will send it out to you completely free of charge. And there is if you can see the URL at the bottom, that is basically what you need to plug into your screen. Sign up. It's all GDPR'd. We're not going to market anything else to you unless you want us to, obviously, from that perspective. Okay, so that's me, and that's Model Office. I'm now going to hand over to Terry Huddart, and Terry is, let me just take a look at the system. There we go. Terry Huddart is head of proposition at the Langcat. Those of you who don't know the Langcat, which I'll be very surprised if you don't, because they're very vocal in the marketplace, and rightly so. But they are a consultancy and a PR business. They do some great work with some across the industry. And Terry is the head of proposition there, and a very experienced individual indeed. Right, Terry, this is your time to shine, and I'm going to hand over to you right now. So let me know when you're on.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, we can hear you.
You can hear me all right, and everyone else can?
Yep. Can we see your screen?
I hope you can. I'm just sharing as we speak. So just now?
Yeah, we got it now. Away you go, Terry.
Fine. Okay, well, thanks, Chris. Also, just to mention, I think I've got the option to turn the camera on or off, and it's currently turned off, so I'm sure everybody's quite happy with that, having just seen that picture. Not my favourite one, but there we go. So what I'm going to talk about today, and thanks to Chris for having us on, is platform due diligence, and particularly in respect to the current situation. I would like to share some sort of anecdotal stuff in terms of firms that I've been speaking to in the last couple of weeks. Some stuff that I think is actually just really quite exciting and inspiring amid what's going on. And then before I do that, what I just wanted to check back on was what the regulator is looking for firms to do in terms of platform due diligence. Because it can be quite confusing, I believe. There's lots of different things to consider, and there's been various different publications over the years, but there's one in particular which I still think is the most detailed, and if you stick to that, so that is Fact Sheet 12, and I'm sure most people will be aware of Fact Sheet 12, and it dates back a few years, but you can get it from the FCA website, and it's FSO 12, and if anybody would like me to send them a link to it or anything like that, very happy to do so after. So I'll talk a little bit about the main things in Fact Sheet 12, if that's all right. Then just sort of link that into how to use a piece of technology to do that as efficiently as possible, and then get into the particular areas that we are finding advisory firms are looking at just now amid the current situation. So that's how I'm going to go ahead. And if I start to witter on or anything like that, Chris will give me a route and interrupt and keep me on track. So that's what we're going to do. So Fact Sheet 12, so goes back, a number of years, but the crux of it is that what it says, and it's still true today, that what you're looking to do to begin with is basically get your client proposition in place. So your business model, the type of services you're offering, your target market, which comes very strongly through in prod as well. And prod is very important right just now. In addition, so what your remuneration model is and your system and procedures. And once you've got all of that in place, that's obviously the first thing to do. And then you're looking at your platform selection part of it. There's about 10 main things that the regulator set out, again, which are still very true today. So it's the provider themselves and things like the reputation and financial strength. Charges, obviously, the big thing that everyone talks about in platforms. Range of funds and tax wrappers available, the product wrappers available, the wider range of asset classes, the functionality in terms of the portfolio management functionality, and that's such as switching and model portfolio functionality and rebalancing, additional tools, so your advice stuff such as risk profiling and asset allocation, which is becoming less prevalent on platforms, but a bunch still do it, and then support services to you as a business that the platform provides, and the quality of its service around that. And then going on from that, the questions to consider are the procedures you have in place for reviewing your choice of platform providers, which needs to be an ongoing process. And then if you do decide to change platform providers, or for example add a new one to your panel, how do you deal with your existing clients that are on platforms in respect to that change? So that's all something that we thread through the work that we do, and how we've built our due diligence proposition to larger firms when we've done it on a consultancy basis over the past 5 years, really. And we still do that from time to time. But what we've done with it in the screen you can see just now, it's a piece of software called Platform Analyzer, and we've put all of the methodology from our consultancy-based work into the software, and that kind of brings me on to the thing about platform due diligence. Everyone pretty much thinks it's a pain in the posterior, because it kind of is. And we have a saying in the Langcat that platform due diligence sucks, because it's a thing that a lot of advisory firms find they spend doing too much time on. You can end up going down rabbit holes, and it can be difficult to get to the real truth. And of course, the real truth is that no one knows what a platform really is like to use until they've lived with it and until they've used it. And that then brings you around to the situation that when you're doing your platform due diligence, is very relevant to thread into that your existing experience with the platforms that you use, because that's where you know most, and that's for the good and for the bad. And it can be that you find the platform great, but that for example, you're receiving poor service from your local BDM, and that's a barrier. So that stuff's quite relevant. So, and I guess what we recommend is two things really. One is that to do your platform due diligence, use technology to do it, but technology isn't a silver bullet for everything, and the regulators recently said that, and we at the Langcat agree with that wholeheartedly. You can use software to get to a very robust shortlist, and then you need to see the nicer guys and all that sort of stuff. Another one is to do your due diligence pretty much as thoroughly as possible, but as efficiently as possible, and to try not to spend weeks on it. Because if you do it manually, and it can run on, and you can spend weeks and go down those rabbit holes. So that's kind of what we have, the position that we come at it from. And then once your due diligence is done and you've got a defensible platform panel, you can then get on with doing what is the good stuff, and you can do financial planning and financial advice and focus on your clients within the bounds of the client proposition that you've created and the platforms that you've chosen to do the platform bit. Or it might not be platforms, it might be other venues such as life companies or pure SIP providers. But also we're looking at platforms in particular here. So in terms of the system, I'm not going to try to bore you to death with an end-to-end system demo. What I will do is now just move on to the context of the activity that we've been seeing recently. So this is the comparisons feature of our one, and we get other systems like this. And I'm going to just select all platforms here. And in this group tab here, we've got all the different areas of research that can be done. Things from general information through to the specific stuff. And all those areas, just linking back to fact sheet 12 again, that are all covered. And we want to cover all those things off, because then you're doing as robust a job as you can. And the areas that I think that in particular just now is with what's going on is the client portal and the client functionality. I'm seeing quite a lot of firms that are saying, do you know what, this has been a bit difficult, but actually we're now seeing new possibilities and developing our proposition to do things like not be regional anymore and to go national, because what we've found is that we actually can deliver our advice service online via areas like this, and a lot of clients are quite happy with it. So that's actually proven to be an enabler for firms that want to grow and want to expand their horizons beyond their traditional geographic boundaries. That's just now possible, right? And that's a great thing. And to me, it's quite an inspiring thing for the advice sector. And so getting on back onto the client functionality is, I've clicked the wrong thing there, but client functionality is one area that you might want to look at. So control of access, and in particular, transactional functionality for the client. And if you have a look at that kind of thing, then there's variances across platforms. And that can all be built into your due diligence approach. And of course, you might use your back office for your client portal, and that's fine too. Other areas would be digital transaction, which Chris has mentioned. So things like straight-through processing that the venue or platform might offer, and how much you can do online. Another particularly important area of research just now is back office functionality, because again, more digital. So looking at how well the platform links to the back offices that you have, with the data that can come in and the data that can go out. And of course, I'm just going to mention pricing, because as advisory firms are developing their client propositions, you might be looking at the cost of the investment portfolios that you're using and how that then fits in with the platform price and your own ongoing advice costs. And then that then refocuses on, well, how much are we paying for the bit? A very important thing to mention about pricing, and what we're going to look at here, is that platform pricing, what we've got here is ticker point pricing. You can obviously, it's not always a price that you'll pay if you get a commercial arrangement for the platform. And that obviously needs to be factored into the whole due diligence process as well. So without going through one, when we do due diligence, what we recommend is that you start off with your client segmentation. Very quick look at a client segment here. This is actually a real one from an advisory firm. No frills segment, use a multi-manager, which happens to be HSBC Global Strategy. And then we take all of that and go into the due diligence process. And I'm getting towards the end of the demo now, but we have a kind of 7-stage approach that we tend to recommend, which is setting out the parameters of your report and your client segmentation to make sure you're all proddy and happy with that. Feature screening, which covers all the sorts of areas that I just mentioned to you. And this is one I prepared earlier. We have our one that works on a feature basis. You get a result from that, and you're looking to look at the match of your results, see who doesn't do your must-haves, and then build in comments at that stage there, whether you're progressing or not. Building in comments to the due diligence selection process is really important, because that's one of the things that the regulator is looking for. It's software analysis in addition to the data stuff. Have a look at the business performance of the platforms based on the parameters that you would create. Again, here, building in comments. We're getting to the end now. Then filtering down. So this is a filtering process. We've got some platforms coming out at the end here. Have a look at their pricing. And then the final stage of that, or the second final, really penultimate, is looking at a shortlist. So you've got all your audit trail here. We've got some shortlisted platforms. This is where you stop. This is where you say, right, let's have a chat. Let's speak to the platforms and get the meetings in and do the beauty parades and all that kind of thing before making your final decision. And then you go through to creating your report. And then that's you create your panel, and then you do your due diligence again once something significant happens in the market, or perhaps one of the platforms that you use, or at your regular review stage. And I think, Chris, I'm probably just past my 10 minutes here.
Yeah, all good. Thank you, Terry. I'm going to reclaim the role, presenter role now. So hopefully you will be able to see my screen. And Terry, that was marvelous. Thank you so much, my friend. That was really in-depth review on congratulations on putting together a great piece of kit. And I can see how that will be exceptionally useful for advisor and planner firms in the marketplace when they're doing the research and due diligence around the platforms that they are using, particularly from an outsource. I mean, the key issue with that for me, from a compliance point of view, RegTech point of view, is that it does a lot of work around the outsourcing risks, which the FCA are very hot on now. So that is a great piece of kit. And thanks so much, Terry. I think we need to speak to the Langcat actually, because we, Model Office, also integrate with our Intelligent Office from the back office, and we run at the moment data quality health checks for IO users. We've also built the app on the App Store. So that's something that's just sprung up, which is great for us. So now I'm going to pass over to Nick. Nick basically had problems on the last one. But what I'm now going to do is bring Nick in when I can find him on the system. And Nick is going to go through here he is, Nick. And Nick will go through a pre-prepared PowerPoint. I've just unmuted you, Nick. Nick, can you hear me? Hello, Nick.
Oh. Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Nick. You're in. Good man. Away you go.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this morning's call, and thank you to Model Office for getting us on this. So I've got 10 minutes to run through how, as a fintech, Wealth Wizards approach from an advice point of view our resilience. So resilience, just a little bit on Wealth Wizards, for those that don't know us, formed in 2009 as a fintech with one mission to make advice affordable to everyone. So we use tech from an advice point of view across 4 main areas when we're considering resilience. So if someone says resilience to us from an advice business that we deal with, we relate that to continuity, because advice is all about continuity, and that's 4 areas. So the 4 areas that we've developed tech around are knowing your client, demonstrating to the regulator that you know your client, understanding the advice that's given, because obviously we're using algorithms and artificial intelligence to give our advice. And the third one, providing and protecting the service. So how do you make sure your data is secure? How do you make sure the advice you're giving is secure? And then the last one then, how do you stay compliant with the regulator, ensuring that when you're using technology to give advice, how do you make sure you're meeting all those requirements? So if you just move on to the next slide, Chris, please. So, and that first one, knowing your client. So when we have a inspection from ISO, so ISO 27001, that we're accredited by as a fintech company, they effectively look at these 4 areas. So what they look at in knowing your client is the typical risks that you might have as an advice business. So what happens if you have a change in an advisor? What happens if you have an advisor off ill? What happens if you've got incomplete, accurate data and you're trying to give advice on that data? So what we use tech for in this area is we use the Turo technology to effectively make sure that records are complete. So we've got embedded data checking screen by screen to enable users not to move on to give any forms of advice until the data is complete in every area to demonstrate to the regulator that you know your client. We do automatic cross-referencing, so we've got integration points with Xplan, with IO, so people can use our kit effectively to say, this is how we know our client, this is how we demonstrate that using the technology, and then you could take that back into your own CRM system or into Xplan or IO or even Salesforce. So the whole area of knowing your client is, for us, it's all about integrity. We demonstrate to the regulator that you can provide secure access, you remove duplication, so we use tech to effectively check for any duplicated records. So you may have as a business where you've got duplicate records under data. We use technology to effectively create one set of data, so there's one version of the truth. And that's real key point for ISO 27001 accreditation. And effectively, the tech we use backs up every 2 seconds. So we're using technology to data check and back up every 2 seconds to really demonstrate to the regulator you truly know your client and your data is secure. We can just move on to the next one, Chris. So the key one here, understanding the advice given. Any advice firm that's ever been checked by the SCA, or certainly from an ISO point of view, you've got to really demonstrate, do you understand the advice given? So we're using algorithms to give that advice. So effectively, we maintain an audit trail, and we call it RegTech. So RegTech effectively checks all the algorithms that are given advice, give advice across areas of ISAs, pensions, SIPs, anything that you want to do advice on. We've got an algorithm that effectively will give that advice. So we've got to ensure that if we give 100 pieces of advice, that the algorithm is giving consistent, and the key word from the regulator is consistent. So we take away any form of human bias. So 100 cases will use the same algorithm and it'll check. And we use technology to align to an advice company's house view. So you may have a house view on emergency funds. You may have a house view on how much debt people have. So the algorithm will align to your house view and give you complete consistent advice, removing any form of human inconsistency and making advice consistent. The biggest area we do this on is DB. So defined benefits, probably the biggest area under scrutiny at the moment in time by the regulator. We all know PS 1925 has been deferred as far as the bridged advice, but we've designed an algorithm that effectively will give DB advice. And what that does, it effectively monitors how your company gives DB advice, and we use RegTech to give you a yes or a no decision on defined benefit transfers. We can just move on, Chris, please. So the next one, certainly from the regulator's point of view, is prove to us how you provide that service. How do you provide the service, especially in COVID-19? How do you ensure that when you are using Wealth Wizards technology, that you are keeping the data secure, you maintain an audit trail? So everything we do, we store in the cloud. We provide resilience testing. We resilience test overnight, every night. And I'll finish with one slide on showing you how we do that resilience testing. We support remote fact-finding, so the fact-finding can work remotely. So anyone working from home at the moment in time, we have global clients like HSBC, using our technology to give advice via video conferencing, to give advice over the telephone. And effectively what we're doing with that is storing it in the cloud and checking from a resilience point of view that the fact find is up to date with data checking within the CRM systems, and that's constantly happening as you're providing that service. And the key point from the regulator is that we're checking data from multiple sources. So we're not effectively holding multiple data points in your CRM system or in our technology. So move on to the next one, please, Chris. So the key one from the regulator is how to ensure you are staying compliant. So we use effectively algorithms to run robust audit trails to check every piece of advice that the technology is given. If you're using this as part of your advice house, we automatically check cases. We've got an automated algorithm that checks the cases. So let's just make sure it's staying in line with your host view. We analyze all the data points to ensure that everything's been checked the same day and overnight testing. We also have automatic regulatory horizon scanning. So basically, if the regulator changes anything, if tax changes, overnight we update the system and there for you immediately. So if anything's coming down the line, the tech will actually pick that up and automatically update itself. So it physically gives you peace of mind that the advice you're given as a business is compliant. So just move on to the next one, Chris. So this whole, how we run the platform, this is the Turo platform. You've effectively, there's two forms of Turo. Turo Digital, which gives complete digital advice end-to-end without the need for an advisor. But the key thing of our advice companies that are on this call, we have what's called Turo for Advisors. All that data is transferred into that, so you don't end up dual keying, and you can use that to give advice. But we have automatic risk control, overnight testing, where the platform self-heals itself. We've just passed again ISO 27001, and we've just passed the test by HSBC, which obviously from a bank point of view gives you that point of view that everything is secure and everything's encrypted. And we've got this overnight testing of 120 key risk indicators and 195 different things going on to actually check the technology is robust. And then to the last slide then, Chris, please. So this is just to finish off really with, if you didn't know anything about Turo, you can get more information to leave you with two key planning points. You can go and look at MyEva, which is our own version, because we are a fully regulated company as well. We've got our own chartered financial planners, and it will give you access to Turo Digital, Turo for Advisors. But the one key thing I'd like to give you to take away for COVID-19, we've designed online chats to physically help people that are furloughed, help people that are worried about debt repayment, help people to potentially take a 3-month payment holiday. So we're using technology to really embrace people, and you can do that from your mobile, from your desktop. But I'd encourage you, if you go onto MyEva, you'll get more information about COVID-19. Thank you for listening, everyone. I think I've just about used my 10 minutes. Thank you, Chris.
Nick, that was a great presentation. Thanks so much. Now I am basically going to hand over to Sim, who's already come in and wants to present. Now we have before I let Sim in, Sim has actually put down the gauntlet. He said that we've got a bet for 20 quid if he's going to keep within his 10 minutes. So I'm going to time this, Sim. So let me get my timer right. And now I'm looking forward to my 20 quid. So I'm going to hand over to Sim. And when you get set up, Sim, your time will start.
Morning, everyone. Hi, Chris. Thank you for organising the session today. I'm just going to quickly start sharing my screen with you. Hopefully you can all see on yours. Let me know if you've got any problems. In 2 seconds. There we go. So you should be looking at my there with my contact details on. And Chris, if anybody can't, okay, just let me know and what we're doing wrong. But today I'd just like to start by explaining who we are, what we do. We're an award-winning supplier of account aggregation and secure communication client portals built specifically for financial advisors and wealth managers. Our clients include high-profile firms like Saunderson House and Progeny Group, Ativa Group, as well as over 120 quality small to medium-sized businesses, which, on their behalf, we're tracking over 40 billion in UK wealth across approximately 50,000 private clients. And sticking with the theme of the Model Office white paper that was downloaded over 300 times a couple of weeks ago since lockdown, today I'm really going to focus on how you can use remote servicing technology to deliver on your clients' expectations, as well as increasing the efficiencies within your business. We all know that COVID has transformed the way we work, particularly from home. Our working practices have changed, our clients' behaviours have changed, and using digital tools to work remotely with each other is now the new normal. It's never been more important to be effective in your client communications. So those firms that we're seeing that are embracing digital technology are benefiting from 3 key areas. Those areas are data security, massive operational efficiency gains, and making their businesses stronger for the long term as we come out of this. We're seeing that in the firms that we're supporting. In the 2 months since we've been in lockdown, we've seen a 1,500% increase in secure messages between advisors and the clients. And last month alone, we measured over 200,000 documents were sent securely via our platform. And that's only across 100 firms. Now, here's the thing. Any future technology decisions you make have to be balanced with the client's needs too. Previously, if you were implementing a new CRM system or a financial planning tool or a platform, you only needed conformity from your own team. But we're in a different world now. You can't necessarily tell your clients what to use or do. Therefore, any client-facing tools you're considering need to solve the problems for your clients, not just for you. So I've just brought up that we've identified over the last few years of building our technology. Clients have, or certainly the high net worth clients have complex lives. Everyone's dealing with too much paperwork. Everyone's concerned about the security of their own data. And frankly, I'm sure you've all experienced it yourselves. Some clients are seeking some reassurance in these difficult times. So this frequent, clear communication is really important to build trust with those clients and maintain that strong, ongoing relationship. Those key concerns aren't going to change. Now more than ever, they will welcome better tools to address those concerns. And this idea that older people don't use tech and unfortunately just don't buy it, we're basing that view on our own usage stats. Over 65% of our end users are baby boomers aged between 55 to 75 years old. These very clients, in fact, you've got my colleague's dad in the top left-hand side. That's Tessa's father there. He learned to use Zoom, just been shown once and once only, and now that's what he uses to communicate with his friends and family, etc. And these people are using tech. They've learned new ways to communicate with the family and the grandkids, etc. They're all on online shopping now, and it's unlikely these clients are going to want to go back things that were. So there's a risk that any service providers will fall behind the times, and that's the perception that your clients will get. It's not necessarily those clients themselves that are not using the tech. So you have to balance the client concerns with the challenges that you will face as a business as well. So how do you make your operational processes more efficient and cut costs? How do you keep in regular contact with your clients and communicate your message well and build that long-term value once we're all through this? How do you manage your regular reporting runs when printing and posting reports out to clients and heading into the office may not be viable? Unfortunately, email isn't the answer. I think it's like a phishing attempt. If somebody gets their finances or their wealth, particularly if it contains sensitive financial information, do they even click on the link that you want them to click on or the attachment? And since the lockdown, Google has reported a 350% increase in phishing attacks and new websites because these criminals wanted to capitalize on the fact that we're all increasing our internet usage. The FCA and the Investment Association are issuing warnings about the rise of criminal activity and the fact that email is so vulnerable to this type of attack. And even if you have encrypted servers or email servers or you send password protected PDFs, that's not enough because from the client's perspective, if they don't use those logins frequently enough, they're just going to forget. And if they do manage to get in and view any documents you want them to view, the first thing they're going to do is download it locally onto their PC or laptop or tablet, and you're putting that information at risk again. Okay, so we need to look at better ways to send and secure and manage the client communications end to end. So what I want to do today, keep it concentrated on one area only, because that's the best way you will get adoption within your business as well as with your staff. We're going to focus on implementing something like secure messaging. Okay, and we're going to show you how that one area alone is going to help you re-engineer a multitude of inefficient business processes that you're probably dealing with, and you don't even know that it's inefficient, which you're facing on a daily basis. So I'm going to show you a recording of my own screen, my own phone, because it's important to be mobile, not just online now. You have to be where your clients are. And we're going to show you how secure messaging can reinvent the way you communicate with your clients. We're going to log in our Advisors app. Again, it's under the Advisors brand, so recognizable. It's a PIN number or user IDs and passwords that clients have to remember. And when they log in, it will refresh data directly from the investment platforms, not just from your CRM system, which may not be the best source of data. Any activities, the client interaction is right on their front screen. And if they need to view documents, they can view it on any device and very, very quickly approve or reject. Because there's a multitude of documents that don't necessarily need e-signature. They can do that, and both the client and the advisor will have completed documentation returned. If it's something that needs signing, they can click into DocuSign on their phone, and we'll display the document. And the key thing here is we're not sending the document via email, which most e-signatures do. It's kept within the secure app itself, and the client can review the document, sign for it on the device, either get the system to select it, or they can just squiggle, use their own signature. And again, the advisory firm and the client gets a complete copy of that document saved in the client portal. Whilst they're in their app, they might want to track other aspects of their wealth. So here, they can go and type in the fact that they've got another property, and they can view the value of that property alongside their investment portfolio that you're managing by simply putting in a postcode and a house number. This will connect directly to land registry, tell the clients how much they purchased that property for, when they purchased it, and what it's worth today, and it will instantly update the client's net worth. The client may have third parties, their workplace pensions, choices for the kids, and you can connect to any third-party institution and have those values updated daily within the client's app. They may be handling paperwork themselves, not just the stuff that you're sending to them securely. Car insurance, home insurance, rather than sending it via WhatsApp or text, basically upload to your app, select the folder it goes to, and it will be saved automatically without any friction at all. So just to wrap up, I'm conscious as I speak, about 50 seconds left. This is a company called Progeny Group. It's one of the fastest growing IFAs in the UK. Before the lockdown, they only had 400 clients, about 10% of their clients on the client portal. Within 2 months, they've rolled out to all of their clients, and they've stripped out 75,000 pages worth of printing, pretty much within 2 months. They were even sending their printers back to their manufacturers. And this lovely quote at the bottom here from Neil, he said, "We've become a technology company overnight that advises clients." That's the power of secure messaging. So if you'd like to find out more, please do contact us. Contact us at the bottom of the page. We'd love to have a conversation about your own individual requirements, and we can advise you if we can help. And Chris, I think that's back to you.
Thank you, Sim, and thank you to all our guest presenters today. We've seen some great tech in action and some great ideas that hopefully you can all apply to your businesses to ensure that you remain resilient and sustainable throughout these times. I just want to thank all of you for attending and taking time out of your valuable day to listen to our presenters today and myself. And what we will do is we will send out the recording of this session to you all with contact information, so that if you want to contact us or any of the guest presenters on what you've heard and seen, you can do, and you'll get a full recording of the full session as well. So remains me to say thanks so much again to all our guest presenters. Thanks to you for all the time you've taken to view the technology, and wish you a safe and healthy and fun-filled bank holiday.